This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Callum Johnson for the second time during lockdown over Zoom. Callum, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm good. I'm not bad. How are you?
I'm all good, mate. Obviously, last time we spoke, I can see you rubbing your beard there. I've kind of
Yeah,
grown mine out, man.
I've not had a show for a while. I'm getting in the lockdown beard mode now.
So I remember at the beginning, you shaved all your hair off.
Yeah, I know. That's why I've got the hat on because it's all come back.
I thought
it's,
you couldn't rope your son into thinking it was a trend.
hey,
I take it you couldn't rope your son into thinking it was a trend.
no, he didn't like it at all. He did not like it at all. Neither of them did, to be honest. So theirs are growing back now as well. We just need the barbers to open, don't we?
100%, mate. I'm counting down the days for that. But aside from obviously how we're all looking these days, how are you doing? How's life in lockdown been as the kind of restrictions have been eased a little bit now?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Obviously the gyms are starting to open, obviously the boxing gyms, but I can't really go to Manchester because nothing's open. Do you know what I mean? There's no hotels open, there's nothing open other, so, it's 3.5 hours drive for me. So I can't sort of do that every day. Do you know what I mean? It's so again, I'm still training in the garage. I'm still training pretty hard, really. I'm doing the same as what I was doing like 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. So it's nothing's changed really for me in that sense.
So what's kind of your knowledge as to when you think, not necessarily hotels will be open, but you could get back into training camp of some sorts?
Well, I'm hoping July. I'm hearing, like, say, things are going to be opening. Everything's pretty much going to be opening sort of beginning of July. So it's a case of just waiting to see when they do open. You know what I mean? Because I'm getting to the point now where I'm ready. I'm ready to start, seeing a few faces and training with having a couple of training partners, because it's that garage is getting a little bit lonely. I'll be honest.
It's funny you say that, because I remember when we first did our interviews only a couple of weeks into lockdown, you said that you was kind of enjoying a bit more time at home, being with the family and that. I take it that's obviously from the sounds of it, it's not the case anymore now.
It is. Everything. I'm still enjoying it, to be fair, but after what is it, 12 weeks now? Is it 10 weeks or something? I've been training in that garage 10 weeks on my own, and every single session I've done has literally been on my own. So it is getting to the point now where I'd like a training partner. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is, isn't it? I've got to stay focused. I've got to keep putting the work in, and so I am ready. Like I've been saying, I'm going to be ready when lockdown's over and everything gets back to normal, and I will be ready.
Is there anything you've been able to do to try and kind of mix up your training routine during the different phases of lockdown?
Yeah, I've been doing, to be honest, I've not done that many boxing sessions, as in punching sessions. I've maybe done 1, 2 boxing sessions a week at most. I've been doing a lot of different things, a lot of circuits, a lot of cycling, indoor cycling on Zwift. I've been mixing it up, doing cycling then into runs and like Ironman kind of training and things like that. I've been mixing it up a lot, and I feel I've benefited from it as well, and I feel I've got a lot fitter and stronger in a lot of different areas.
Are you feeling like maybe a little anxious at all, or maybe a little pressure, knowing that you've lost this period of your career because of the lockdown and the pandemic, for no fault of your own? Everybody's going through it, but are you feeling like nervous or anxious, or that bit of pressure for when boxing returns to kind of throw yourself back in there as quickly as possible now?
Yeah, definitely. But not really because of lockdown. Because at the end of the day, it's only been 10 or 12 weeks. For other reasons, obviously injury reasons and other reasons, I've lost. I mean, listen, it's not a secret, is it? My career's been a bit of a shambles, to be fair, in time, in like activity and inactivity and everything else. So yeah, I do feel the pressure is on, and I do feel as though time's running out. But at the same time, I am fresh. I feel the best I've ever felt. So I'm not too worried at the same time. But I am eager for things to get going again and get going, because I feel that the next 2 or 3 years are probably my last 2 or 3 years. But I also feel they're going to be my best 2 or 3 years as well.
You mentioned you're still fresh, and you're admitting you haven't had the activity you'd have liked over your career to date. But as you have, as you've gotten older, despite the fact that you haven't had as many fights as you would have probably liked to have you felt any kind of wear and tear at all on your body? Do you feel it it's a bit more of a struggle to make weight, a bit more of a struggle to motivate yourself at all?
No, to be honest, I've never been so motivated. I've never been so motivated. Through this lockdown, I've never been so motivated. Maybe because I've had to be, I've had no choice to be, but I've never felt so good. I've never felt so fresh. I've never felt so fit. Only time will tell though, won't it, when I get in the ring? You know what I mean? Everything, people always say it's different when you get in the ring, but I genuinely 100% believe the best is yet to come, and people are going to see the best of me. And, I can't wait to get in there and show people.
We will come on to what could lie ahead for you once boxing returns. But one thing which I did message you about was obviously your charity endeavours. Talk to me about kind of your work there, 100k watt bike charity ride. You flipped a tyre for 5 hours amongst other things. Talk to me about all of your charity endeavours.
As I say, it started, a mate of mine, he started the fundraiser up. And I say I jumped on it by doing the 100k ride. That was the first one I did. And I said, I'll do a 100k ride and I'll try and get a little bit of publicity for it and try and see if we can raise a few quid. And it kind of blew up. Adam Peaty got involved and it just went massive, really, that first one we did. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the buzz around it. It gave me something to kind of focus on through lockdown. So I thought, I'll do one every Wednesday. And that's what I did. The following Wednesday, I did as many burpees as I could do in an hour. The following Wednesday after that, I did the tyre flip. Then I did the half Ironman the Wednesday after that. And then the Wednesday after that, I basically put a mix of all the challenges together. And that was the last one I did, really, for the fundraising. But no, I enjoyed it, and it gave me something to focus on through lockdown. It gave me something to train for as well. So, but not only that, I benefited myself from it on the fitness side of things and endurance side of things. I was doing sessions, that I've never ever done before, and I was doing sessions that maybe I never thought was even possible before. You know what I mean? So, I definitely unlocked a different side of my potential that I probably never thought I had or didn't realise I had. So, things, through lockdown, I've definitely improved myself as an athlete. That's without even, without question.
Did you feel kind of a greater sense of reward knowing that you was helping to raise money for the NHS for all of these tough times and the difficulties that they'll kind of be enduring at this moment in time with the amount of patients they're going to be having to deal with? Did you feel like a little bit of like a different type of reward to what you'd have had throughout your career?
Yeah, I'd say I did. I mean, it was nice, the fact that, I felt a sense of reward that I was, let's say, helping raise funds for the NHS. I was also helping myself mentally, keeping myself right. I was helping other people, inspiring other people to jump on board the challenges and getting people exercising. So, yeah, it felt kind of like a rewarding. I was very much felt like I was rewarding myself through helping others. But again, not just the fundraising side of the NHS, but getting people active. I was getting a lot of people involved in training and active, especially around my own town. And, that felt a nice feeling, to be honest.
How much in total do you feel that, or do you think that you did raise then?
I think it was touching 25 grand. It was just nearly touching 25 grand. So it was all right. It was a decent amount, considering Ryan, who started it off, had his target was 500. So it kind of blew up. But, it was nothing like, was it Tom, Captain Tom, whatever his name is, yeah. He raised 25 million something.
Well, you never know, Callum. If you pick it up again, you never know what's around the corner.
It was a long way off him, but, we did our little bit, and, it was enjoyable while we was doing it.
I mean, it's definitely a brilliant total and brilliant effort from yourself and everybody who joined in. But to move away from that and on to obviously the return of boxing, which seems to be around the corner. Starting off with tonight, we're going to see Top Rank putting on some shows over in Vegas. Will you be tuning in to seeing boxing return?
Do you know what? That's the first I've heard of it. I didn't even know. I told you before, innit? I don't watch no boxing. I didn't even know. But yeah, I will be having a look, see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited for boxing to returning, and there's talks of Eddie putting on shows back end of July through to August, and I believe that, you know, he's on about the Povetkin white card, or White Povetkin, should I say, being on the 15th of August, I think. And I think someone mentioned that he did mention that I might be on that. So, I mean, if that's the case, you know, I'd love to be on that, and I will be ready. Like, hey, I don't know what's happening. You know, all I'm doing is training, making myself available. You know, if the opportunity comes.
Let's start off with the return of boxing's, you know, the behind closed door shows and Eddie's proposal of fight camp, you know, holding shows at Matchroom HQ. Firstly, Callum, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's good. I mean, the UFC's done it. They've been pretty successful doing it. Like I say, Top Rank's doing it tonight. So if they can do it, why can't Matchroom do it? I'm sure they can. And, you know, I think people are crying out in this country, you know, for sports to be back on TV, and Sky Sports needs to get sport back on. And I think it's a good idea. I think lockdown is starting to ease, and the country is starting to slowly get back to a little bit of normality. So yeah, why not? Why not?
What are your thoughts on having no fans there? How do you feel, you know, you'll cope and other fighters will cope? Because in some interviews, you know, some fighters have admitted that they feel they may be able to perform better without the pressure and expectation of fans. Others have said that they'll miss that buzz. They may not be able to get that extra push they usually would in an arena. You know, how do you feel you'd cope with that?
It's hard to say, innit? Until you're there, until you experience it, you can't really say. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, when I'm in the ring, I don't hear any of the crowd. I don't see any of the crowd. So I'm not really thinking about any of the crowd. But the ring walk, you do see the crowd, and you do hear the crowd, and you do buzz from the crowd. So you're going to miss that. So I think the ring walk would maybe feel a little bit strange. But I think once you're in the ring and you set eyes on your opponent and the bell goes, for me, I feel as though it wouldn't be a lot different, to be honest.
You said that there's that possibility you may be on the White Povetkin card if that obviously goes ahead. Any idea as to the level of opposition you'd anticipate being in with? We've been told, you know, for the immediate future, no title fights. So it would have to be somebody who's also a British fighter. Do you know any kind of names that you think it would be? Now, everybody's spoken about that Buatsi fight, but is one of them which I would imagine would be on a show either with fans or on a bigger card. You know, what's your thoughts on who you could end up facing?
Do you know, honestly, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I mean, again, I've not seen the interview where Eddie mentions it, but someone mentioned it to me, and I heard that it was on about trying to keep the card the same. Now, if Whyte's going to fight Povetkin on that card, you know, why couldn't I fight McKelkin? You know what I mean? But again, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm not bothered who it is. You know, ideally, I could probably do with an 8-rounder, 10-rounder, you know, to get a little bit of rust off and get back in. But when it's all said and done, I'm not really bothered who it is. You know, I'll be honest.
A name which, you know, I've asked you about before, and I'm sure I'll ask you about in the future, and it's kind of crept up a bit more recently, is Joshua Buatsi. Do you feel we will see that fight in the near future, maybe a bit sooner than what others may have anticipated?
Yeah, I think so. I can't see it happening this year. I'll be honest. But who's to say it won't? But I think next year, 100% it'll happen. I think it's a case of, as I said before, rather a case of when than if. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's something that I'm looking forward to. He's a great fighter. Some people think he's the best in Britain. You know, some people think I'm the best in Britain. Some people think Anthony Hard's the best in Britain. You know, so it's a little bit of a people's opinions at the minute are all different. But it excites me to be involved in the mix and be in a big fight like that, because I feel as though if me and Joshua Buatsi fight, you know, it's going to be a massive, massive British domestic clash, and, you know, one that the fans will get involved in and be excited about. And that's something that excites me, because getting into boxing, you know, being involved in a massive domestic fight like that, where the whole of Britain is interested, you know, that's what it's about at the end of the day, and that's something that excites me.
Now, I remember speaking to Joe probably about 2 weeks ago now, and I was talking to Joe about the Callum Smith Canelo situation and some other stuff around that, and he mentioned that if a fight was to be there, he'd be happy for you to face Canelo. Now, I remember asking you about it, kind of not necessarily like anticipating it to go anywhere, but is it something you'd genuinely be up for if something could be made there, potential clash with Canelo? If so, do you think it would have to happen at 175, or would you drop to 168?
I'd drop to 154 if we had to for that fight. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I like talking about it because I just feel as though it's kind of unrealistic. But at the same time, if I had the chance to face Canelo, of course. I mean, it's the Mayweather fight of today. Everybody wants that fight because it's the fight that brings loads of money. He's the biggest name in world boxing. And if I fight Canelo at 175, I fancy myself to win. You know what? He's arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. We know that. But 175, I don't think he's as forcey as 160. 160 is where he's a force. He's maybe as close to unbeatable at 160 now as you're going to get. At 175, I don't think he is.
What about 168? Would there be a consideration there if that was to be offered to you?
Yeah, 100%, because same thing. I feel as though I could make 168 and still have that same strength and power that I possess at 175. But again, unless you do it, you never really do know, do you? Pete, that extra £7, would it take anything out of me? Unless I do it, we'd never know.
You've had Liam's fought Canelo from your camp. Callum was in talks. How do you think kind of they'd react? How do you think Callum would react if he was to see that you got the fight ahead of him?
I always joke about that because when Joe's mentioned it before, I said about if I got the Canelo fight, I'd have to be dodging all four brothers, wouldn't I? They'd be waiting to beat not all four of them would jump me. Nah, like you say, it's just all jokes, isn't it? I mean, chances of that happening for me is slim to none, really. It's just, like I say, it's just something to talk about, I suppose.
I mean, we did see, I think it was last week, we saw some more rumours coming out that he may face either Sergey Derevyanchenko at 168 or Durrell. What are your thoughts on either of those fights if Canelo was to face one of them, considering the names that were being considered before lockdown?
I mean, again, they're both top fighters, and at the end of the day, Canelo's now at the stage, and he can fight who he wants. When he wants, and as for as much money as he wants, he's like the new Mayweather. So, listen, if I was Canelo, I'd be taking the most least dangerous. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like say, talk about facing me. Why would he want to face me? What's he want to face me for? Or because I'd be a massive risk, and for what? It's like say, what does he want to face Callum Smith for? I know he's got the WA Super, and he's the best in the world at super middleweight, but it's just a massive risk for him. He don't need that fight. And I think that's what he's going to look at for the easiest fights, but a decent name for the most money because he's earned that right now, I think, and that's how it seems to be going.
Callum, before I do let you go, I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of other fights. One which involves one of your campmates, Tasha Jonas. She's obviously, getting ready for the bout with Terry Harper, hoping that happens at some point in the near future on one of Eddie's shows once again. How was Terry looking? Sorry, not Terry. How was Tasha looking before lockdown?
She's looking sharp. Tasha, she's a skill set is unbelievable. And I was saying to Joe, like, for the skills she possesses, and you watch her train, it's quite, it's a pleasure to watch her train. And like I say, if Tasha can produce what I've seen her produce in the gym and bring her skill set to the ring, I see her winning that fight. I know Terry's a top fighter, and it's going to be it's 10 rounds, is it? I think as for the women as a world title, is it 12? I'm not sure, 10 or 12. I know obviously it's a little bit of a different game, but listen, if Tasha can produce what I've seen her produce, you know, I've got every confidence in her.
Then the final fight I just wanted to get your thoughts on is, there's been talk about a potential cross-sport clash between Dillian Whyte and Francis Ngannou of the UFC. What are your thoughts if we was to see that and see Dillian in either the ring or the cage?
I'd be excited to watch it because, by all accounts, I believe Dillian can fight a bit with his legs as well. He used to do the K1 or the kickboxing or whatever, so I believe he's pretty handy with his feet. So it'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting. But we'll see. I don't know.
Callum, as always, it has been a pleasure to catch up with you. I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your day once again, and probably catch up with you again over Zoom at some point. Hopefully not, but hopefully it's in person. But before I let you go, what would you like to say to everyone who does tune in to watch our interview?
Keep tuning in. Keep tuning in, and hope to see you all at the fight soon.
Callum, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Stay safe. I hope you and your family obviously well, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Take it easy, mate.